Okay, picture this. A quiet inn, maybe a bit run down in a sleepy town. The innkeeper, Kvothe, seems, well, pretty unremarkable.
Just a guy doing his job, right? Plain clothes, striking red hair, sure, but there's this weariness about him.
Exactly. His whole life feels kind of small, contained, but then, bam, the quiet is shattered.
Something attacks. These strange, unsettling creatures, many-legged things the book calls scrael.
And in that moment, Kvothe just transforms. The weariness is gone. He's sharp, lethal, efficient.
He knows exactly what they are, how to fight them, knows about using iron or fire specifically.
And later, he's stitching up this deep, nasty wound, and he just casually mentions the number of stitches. 48.
48. I mean, why does a simple innkeeper know that kind of thing? Possess that specific, dangerous knowledge.
Who is this guy, really?
And what's so compelling about this book is how it throws you right into that contrast. It doesn't start with the hero off on some grand quest.
No, it starts with him hiding, his real identity suppressed. But those echoes of his past, his extraordinary past, they're impossible to completely contain.
They just break through, don't they? In moments like that, screenal attack.
Exactly. And that stark opening really sets the stage for our deep dive today. We're peeling back the layers on this incredible book, The Name of the Wind.
It unravels the story of a man living this quiet present, but he's absolutely haunted by a legendary past.
Our mission here is to unpack the pieces the book gives us, the calm surface, the turbulent depths of his memory, the people who shaped him.
In search for insights, right?
Yeah.
Into identity, resilience, and just the sheer weight of reputation.
Exploring those hidden depths and narratives, finding the surprising connections, the core ideas, that's really what we love to do.
And if you're intrigued by how we analyze complex stories like this one, you might find our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, we use AI analysis there to explore book structures, themes. It encourages reflection, a deeper look.
It's another way to look beyond the surface, definitely.
It really gives you a different perspective sometimes. Okay, so let's dive into the story Kvothe starts to tell. It begins with that frame, in the quiet inn, the Waystone.
Right. So you've got Kvothe the innkeeper and his rather enigmatic student or companion, Bast.
Their routine gets interrupted, doesn't it, by the arrival of Chronicler. He's this renowned scribe, has a real knack for finding true stories.
And Chronicler isn't just passing through. He's heard the rumors, the whispers about this innkeeper. He suspects Kvothe is the legendary Kvothe.
And he's determined to get the real story. Kote's resistant at first, naturally, wary of dredging up the past.
But he eventually agrees, doesn't he? Tells Chronicler simply, the story will take 3 days.
That agreement is the pivot. It lets the book shift from this quiet present to the vibrant, dangerous past.
And you also see Bast's reaction immediately. He's clearly concerned, palpably worried.
He seems to love Kvothe, but he fears that telling this story, reliving everything, maybe it's harmful. Or maybe this quiet life isn't enough for his master. It adds another layer of mystery right there in the present.
So Kvothe begins his tale. Takes us way back to a childhood that's unlike any other. Growing up in his parents' traveling troupe.
Lord Greyfallow's men.
That's the one. And the book paints such a vivid picture of that life, doesn't it? The wagons, the roads, the campfires, the music.
He talks about his family singing the Lay of Sir Savian Trailyard, and you can almost hear his mother's harmony. It sounds steeped in performance, community, but also very transient.
But underneath the performance, his parents had this other quest going on, almost scholarly within their art.
Right, seeking the true story behind the legends of the Chandrian and Lanre.
Debating the signs, like the blue flame, looking for historical truth. His father even calls it a fool's game sometimes, acknowledging the danger maybe.
But he was dedicated, believed it would be his best work.
And that sets up a theme early on, doesn't it? The danger, the allure of forbidden knowledge. Their art was telling stories, but their passion was uncovering the truth behind the really old, dark stories.
And into this world steps a really key figure, a Bensi, Ben, an arcanist who joins the troupe.
The book portrays him as more than just a teacher. He's a profound mentor figure for young Kvothe.
Taught him not just facts, but how to think, how to understand the principles behind things. Introduced him to sympathy.
Which is that magic of binding things together based on correspondence, physical similarity. Ben showed him how to link iron drabs or a stone and a fruit. 2 bricks.
Even a clod of earth and a donkey, using heat and will. And Kvothe gets it fast. Figures out the pine pitch Ben used at first was just like a crutch for concentration.
It's all about the connection, the link.
And Ben introduced him to something even deeper, naming.
Ah, yes, the power of knowing the true name of a thing to command it. The book gives that amazing image for it, a leaf in lightning.
So fleeting, powerful, beautiful, maybe uncontrollable.
And Abenthy saw Kvothe's talent so early on, age 11. Recognized his innate grasp, how quickly he learned, figured things out.
Ben called his hands magician's fingers, didn't he? Lamented that if he had Kvothe's hands and, 1/4 his wit, he'd be rich.
That early recognition is crucial. It validated Kvothe's potential, gave him a foundation before tragedy struck. It shows how talent can be nurtured, but it doesn't make you bulletproof.
And that cruelty arrives with devastating force. This is where it gets truly gripping and heartbreaking. The catalyst, the Chandrian, attack the troop.
Yeah, the book doesn't pull any punches there. The details are chilling. Cinder with his voice like a chill wind, those matte black eyes.
And that disturbing hint of pity in his gaze. And Haliax, the leader, face always hidden in shadow, cloaked in sorrow.
The attack is swift, brutal, leaves young Kvothe the sole survivor, seeing the aftermath. Just terrible. It's the moment that shatters his world and completely redefines his life.
And this trauma throws him out of that, idyllic, if nomadic, childhood straight into brutal street survival in Tarbian.
The book is so raw describing that. Starving, ragged, constant beatings. There's that awful incident where he vomits after being kicked.
You really feel the contrast between the wealthy hillside and the poor, stinking waterside where he's just scraping by a world away from music and wagons.
Yet even in that brutal environment, the book shows these flashes of kindness, resilience.
There's Trappist, right? Who cared for the kids in the sewers, loved him with a silent ferocity.
And the farmer, Seth, who offers genuine help, a home. And that mysterious man, the Black Mask, who helps him after an attack.
Those moments are vital. They show that even in the darkest places, there's still light, connection, hints at a wider world interacting with him, teaches him not everyone is cruel, maybe.
And amidst just trying to stay alive, he finds a new purpose. In Tarbian, he hears Scarpi, the storyteller.
Scarpi tells the ancient tale of Lunrai and the Creation War.
And for Kvothe, this isn't just a story, it's a revelation. He recognizes Haliax, the hooded figure from the attack, in the story of Lunrai, the hero turned villain.
Hearing the name, the history, the context, it connects that unspeakable trauma to something bigger, an ancient conflict. It gives him a target, a reason.
And that purpose leads him straight to the university. He decides he has to go there, the center of learning, to find answers about the Chandrian, about Scarpi's story.
The university experience is, well, it's challenging. A whole world of arcane knowledge, strict hierarchy. Admissions are tough.
But Kvothe's talent, the stuff Ben nurtured, it shines through. The book mentions that prediction he'd make it into the Arcanum, the inner circle, before the end of his third term. Pretty impressive.
He learns from all these fascinating masters, different disciplines, different personalities. Killivan in artificery, grounded, cautious, believes metal lasts.
Elxadal for advanced sympathy and naming, dealing with raw power. Arwol in physic, who talks about the cruelty doctors see and notices Kvothe's incredible self-control, like when he stitched his own wound.
Lauren, the master archivist, professes great respect for curiosity, but then bans Kvothe from the archives later for digging too deep.
And then there's Illudan, master namer. Eccentric, cracked, some say. Operates way outside the box, his test on the roof. It's not just about knowledge, it's about looking into Kvothe, seeing beyond the surface.
This period just shows his immense capacity for learning, soaking up knowledge across all these fields.
But it also highlights the challenges of formal institutions, right? The politics, the rules, the clash between structure and real inquiry. Being brilliant isn't always enough. You have to navigate the system.
And he doesn't navigate it alone, thankfully. He finds this crucial support system in his friend, Simon.
Cheerful, brings some lightness, makes Kvothe smile, maybe a bit innocent, like you said.
Willem, the pragmatic, sealed him with that rare grin. And Manet, older, been in the Arcanum longer, offers some wisdom.
Their camaraderie is essential. They drink scutton, joke about the masters, share rumors. They provide real support. Manet makes that bet on Kvothe's admission. Sim and Will are always trying to help him out financially or with his reckless choices.
There's that funny story about the stack fee scam, too. Shows their shared experience and Kvothe's cleverness at just surviving. These friendships really ground him.
But the university isn't just learning and friends. It introduces a major source of conflict. Ambrose.
Ugh, Ambrose. The book paints him as the classic, arrogant, privileged antagonist.
Totally. Noble heir. Heir to a barony, powerful father, thinks he's untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's relentlessly antagonistic towards Kvothe, described like a dog too stupid to avoid a porcupine.
Their clashes escalate fast. Ambrose lies gets Kvothe banned from the archives, which is devastating for his quest.
Then he breaks Kvothe's lute, just pure malice against something Kvothe's treasures. The book even implies Ambrose hired those thugs who attacked Kvothe in the alley. It goes beyond rivalry into real danger.
Yeah, Ambrose represents that clash, doesn't he? Inherited status and malice versus Kvothe's earned talent and ambition.
Stepping away from the academic stuff for a bit, the book introduces another crucial place and relationship. The Aeolian.
Ah, the Aeolian.
Wow.
A place for musicians. A testing ground, a hub for talent. It costs a talent to play there, which is a lot.
But earning the talent pipes, that's a clear mark of distinction, a way to gain reputation, and, crucially for Kvothe, money. Playing there is a high-stakes gamble to fund his tuition, pay off debts.
He performs, gets lost in the music, until that piercing sound interrupts him, someone trying to open the locked door. And it's around this time he deepens his connection with Denna.
Denna, one of the book's great mysteries. She's elusive, uses different names, Denna, Diane, Diana, captivating presence. And her voice.
Like burning silver. Beautifully put. Their connections complex, chance meetings, awkward sort of courtship dances, shared vulnerabilities.
They talk about small things like flowers. She likes daisies. He jokes about willow blossoms. But those conversations build something real.
Their bond gets seriously tested and deepened by what happens at the Modden farm.
Right. They find the charred ruins, hinting at danger, and then the Dracus.
Terrifying description. Huge size, rolls in fire, eats logs, and its scales stick to loden stone. Something about organic iron being valuable. It feels ancient, primal.
And Denna gets poisoned there.
Yeah.
Denner resin. The book calls it an offlum drug, powerful, addictive stuff.
Kvothe reacts instantly, grabs charcoal from the fire, makes her eat it. To absorb the poison, it's a moment of just raw fear, vulnerability for both of them.
Afterwards, Denna admits she felt important and lucky to have him there. That shared trauma, his quick thinking, it forges a powerful link.
And later, Kvothe gives Denna his talent pipes, his newly earned pipes, acknowledges she helped him earn them.
That's huge. Those pipes are his most valuable possession at that point, symbol of his talent, his future.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives them to her, saying only this much, implying she's worth more.
And she recognizes his lie about her name from a play, Dionica. Shows they have this shared cultural understanding. Their relationship is just intense affection, but constant mystery and separation, too.
These experiences build his legend, definitely. Skill, facing danger, forming these deep bonds. But they also lead to consequences.
Back at the university, the conflict with Ambrose boils over after the Modden farm trip. Ambrose breaks Kvothe's lute again, deliberately, publicly.
And that deliberate cruelty triggers a fight. Kvothe ends up facing a really serious charge. Malfeasance. Using magic to harm someone.
The trial is a major event. Kvothe's injured, maybe doesn't even fully remember what happened in the heat of the moment.
But what's significant is the master's intervention. Despite Kvothe's recklessness, his temper, the seriousness of the charge, most of them support him.
All hands save Hemis, the book says. They save him from expulsion. It shows that even these stern figures recognize something valuable in him. Talent, character, potential enough to risk their own standing.
It's a surprising bit of support in that harsh environment.
Yet, despite reaching these heights, earning respect, the book brings us right back to the quiet, diminished man in the present day. The Skrael attack happens at the inn.
And then that moment that just chills you. Kvothe tries sympathy to bind the mercenary's wound.
And nothing happened. That failure is just devastatingly simple. Such a stark contrast to the powerful arcanist we've been reading about. Why did his magic fail?
The aftermath in the inn is just fear and confusion. The dead creature, the dead mercenary, fuel rumors. Aaron the Prentice thinks it was a demon.
But Bast suggests something else, right? A Mahalurette or a skin dancer hinting at ancient fey dangers. But then he quickly clarifies it was not of his kind.
Which is a fleeting reminder that Bast himself isn't human. Adds another layer to the present-day mystery.
And Bast's concern for Kvothe is so clear, heartbreaking almost. He warns Chronicler very pointedly, don't ask him about the bottle, about the failed sympathy.
Bast fears Kvothe is deliberately focusing on dark things, maybe forgetting who he was, choosing this diminished state, that he's crumpling like paper.
Which brings us right to the enduring mystery. How did the bright, talented boy, the legend who mastered naming and sympathy, survived Tarbian, navigated the university, become this weary innkeeper whose magic seems gone.
What force, what choice, what consequence led to this quiet exile and the screenless showing up? It signals the past isn't buried, it might be catching up.
The book doesn't give easy answers early on, but it lays out the puzzle. A man who built this huge reputation now seems to have shed it, or had it taken.
Exploring narratives like this, pulling out those threads, character, consequence, change, that's what we love. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the name of the wind, how these pieces fit, you might also find a lot to explore on Mindful Moments on YouTube.
Yeah, using those AI insights to look at structure, themes, it really inspires critical thinking. And be sure to subscribe to our podcasts for more explorations of fascinating stories and topics.
Absolutely. So to wrap up this deep dive, let's recap that incredible journey in these excerpts. We followed Kvothe from the warmth of the troop, Ben's mentorship.
Through the shattering trauma of the attack, the resilience forged in Tarbian, to the intense learning at the university.
We saw him navigate challenges, forge deep friendships, bitter rivalries, connect with Denna, confront dangerous forces.
He earned his legendary names, but now exists as Kvothe, the quiet innkeeper.
The book shows so vividly that reputation is hard-earned, sometimes unwanted. Knowledge is powerful, often dangerous. And the past leaves these indelible marks. It shapes who you are, whether you try to hide it or not.
Which leaves us with that powerful lingering thought, doesn't it? Inspired by the book's mystery. Can you ever truly hide from who you are?
Or is the weight of a life earned, its triumphs, its tragedies, its power, its pain, just too heavy to ever really put down?
Something to ponder long after you finish the book. If you found this exploration fascinating, please subscribe to our podcast for more deep dives. Share this with anyone else who loves getting lost in a great story.
You can often find a link to purchase the book in the description if you want to read it yourself.
And always remember to think critically about the stories you encounter. Look beyond the surface, find those hidden depths.